Winter in Altenberg, Germany. Season opener for the IBSF two-man bobsleigh World Championships, World Cup rather, and the snow has arrived. We're a month out of Christmas and it looks like it here at this East German track. Hey everybody, I'm Martin Haven, alongside me John Morgan, ready for the first of two runs in the two-man bobsleigh season opener. And John, as if this track wasn't tough enough, weather throwing in another wrinkle.
Well, at least they'll slow it down for the athletes. First World Cup of the year. This is the track they call Too Tough to Tame. Something like that track down in Carolinas for NASCAR. But it's been built in the 80s, when redone in the mid 2006, 2007. They changed the finish area. The start record's been around since 2003 with Lange and Kuska, those famous Germans. Kuska's still in the competition today. And up here, track, you got to be quiet, steering, just like in any of the other sliding sports, skeleton. Omega curve, a lot of issues here in the skeleton sport. The crossover 4 to 5. 6, 7, and 8. Let the sled run. You still haven't come close to maximum speed. Now 9, the first big pivotal part of the track. Harold Schodai, named after the '94 German Olympic champion in Lillehammer. He's from this region. Kreisel, big whip around, exit underneath where you enter the curve, and now 11, 12. Probably the most challenging two-corner combination that exists. 13, big pressure. 14, big sweep and right. Uphill section, no mistakes allowed there. You're still accelerating, still have a chance for some more speed into the finish. And the track record, well, I don't think we're going to see any track records like we saw in skeleton because of the snow. Track record's been around since 2006, that gold medalist from Russia named Zubkov and Vovoda.
Lange set the track record when he and Kevin Kuska went on that season to win their first of 3 World Championships together, the last of which came 2008 on this track. So can the Germans fare well here? Well, when conditions change, the local knowledge could really play a factor. And we got 2 very local drivers for Germany, Nico Walter and the reigning double two-man world champion Francesco Friedrich. There's the last man other than Friedrich to win a two-man world gold, Stephen Holcomb. And as you can see, it is very snowy up the top of the track. It's snowy everywhere, little blustery as well, and the snow robs you of a little bit of control. It makes it kind of slick, even if it reduces some speed. And there is Man Mountain, Kevin Kuska. There's Francesco Friedrich looking pretty happy, the man from Pirna just down the road. And Nico Walter, his teammate from Freital. They were a sensation last year in the 2-man and 4-man races. Justin Cripps for Canada will be the man that gets the season underway. We have a good, strong field, 23 sleds, so 3 will join the spectators for the second heat. We've got new brakemen to deal with and a couple of drivers who haven't got much experience of this track. Lamin Dean from Great Britain starts 17th. He's been racing in World Cup for several years. He said, I've always managed to miss this track, never raced here before. Well, do you know what? He's going to know all about Altenberg by the time he leaves here, John. Well,
they're going to have a lot of issues with the snow. The coaches will be complaining profusely and making sure they sweep, especially before the German sleds come down. You're going to see some good sweeping. But it's home track advantage. It's a winter sport. Let's do it.
Walter going off 6th and 8th. I'm suggesting the sweeping protocol will be every second sled. So the odd numbers will have snow and the even numbers will have a swept start. What do you reckon?
I reckon that just like in horse racing, they call mudders. There's some teams that are really good in the bad weather and other teams that complain profusely about it. And I think it's just, hey, it's mind over matter and just get down to business and let's start the season.
Coach Tom Delahunty at the front of the Canada sled for Justin Cripps, the 28-year-old born in Hawaii, now lives in Summerland, British Columbia. And his brakeman, Alex Kopacz, just 25 years old, former shot putter, came into the team at the beginning of last season, has cemented his position on the back of Canada 1. Cripps, that's an elderly headshot. He's got rather more beard again than that.
Good story. Alexander Kopacz has been studying in Germany, and they've recruited a German coach. He's back there in the left. Olaf Hampel, famous world champion way back with Lange in '95. And Alex was training with them, and they brought him in there for the week to train with the Canadians. And Justin Cripps has started the season. Watch that start speed. Boy, the start time and start speed, 2 variances you have to look at. They could, if they're different, it'll show up. Because the way you jump in that sled can really alter your speed.
5:22 getaway, that's only a tenth of a second off the all-time start record. That might be in danger here today. You can see how much snow there is on the track, but they will sweep at least every other sled, if not every single sled.
And most of that start area is covered up.
And most of the corners, of course, are covered by roofs as well. A little late in 11 and 12. Got away with it, and that will cost him just a little bit of time.
Speeds here. 160 kilometers is their top speed.
Yeah, 72.5.
72.5 miles an hour. There's Olaf Hoppe on the right with Tom Delahunty. Olaf Hoppe was some specimen. Him and Christoph Langen, when they won about every event over 2 years, including the World Championships in 1995. And when the sleds don't make it all the way to the top, that tells you how slow the track is. 56.13. That's 1.5 seconds.
A lot of extra pushing.
Yeah, that's 1.5 seconds off the pace of the world of the track record. Well, that's a little late, and that's 11-12. I talked about that in our POV. That's probably the most challenging two-corner combination in the world.
Big skid pitches it sideways, backs it into 13. Yeah. Like I said, that snow lubricates the ice and really robs you of control. Next up then, Oskars Melbardis, the Latvian. Melbardis, our World Cup champion last year. 2 wins, 5 further silver medals. Only once was he off the podium. That was 5th place in Koenigsegg. But
that was a snow race. That was a snow race that they complained about.
Silver medalist here last year.
Huge. Huge man.
Okay, let's say start record is 5:12, has been for a decade and more, 5:20.
Look at that, they're a kilometer, half a kilometer better in their start speed than the Canadians, but of course, and they're only 200, they're 200s better, but they're a half kilometer better speed into the sled.
So the next speed trap should show them well over a tenth in front. No, just 100.
So he made a mistake that we didn't see.
Cripps had 104 kilometers coming into the Chrysler at the end of this straight. Just a little wriggle to settle the sled, 500s. This is going to be tight.
Remember, Cripps had problems down here, 11-12.
109, 5 kilometers now.
No trouble there. He has no skid going on here like Cripps. Watch the rudder tips here coming up the hill.
6Ks quicker.
Pretty good. Oh, he's got much better speed.
Cripps 116.5 up to 123.4. Wow.
77.2 miles an hour, 3,300s better. And if you think of it, those times were only 200s apart in the Chrysler. Cripps had a lot of problems at 11-12. Took away 2,500s, probably 2/10 of his time.
That was close to crashing for Cripps, and I'm sure it felt like it for Alex Kopax in the back seat. This is a much tidier run from Oskars Melbardis.
This is the exit of curve 9, the pivotal part of the track, where here's the replay, the second part of that shot, and a little bit, you see him playing with the runners a little bit, but good control on that straightaway that puts you into the Chrysler. And
do you know, that little movement was probably Dalman's Treeskins being shoved around by G-forces at the back of the sled. He's a big unit.
He's the biggest unit on tour.
Yeon Jung-won of Korea with Youngwo Seo behind the 30-year-old driver, this 24-year-old brakeman. And Seo, one of the first men in the Korean team, recruited and into their World Cup squad in 2010.
They must be sweeping, because for this delay to happen like this, they must be sweeping someplace. Because
so after 2.
These are no longer small men. These are big guys. They've been in the weight room, these two, and the whole Korean team. They're 215, 220 pounds.
Seo was still a teenager when he came into this squad, the brakeman.
Watch the power here. Listen. Start speed, 43.5. It is 5:25. 43.6. They have better, lesser start time, better start velocity. That's that last couple steps in the sled.
I was going to say, Seo ran that almost down to turn 1. That was a long, long run from the brakeman. Very different livery on the sleds this year. They've gone for that dark matte grey and electric kind of orangey red. Real standout livery.
And watch the G-forces here into the Chrysler until they hit 6. Yeah, barely touches it. Ooh, he did a lot of looping there. Speed though on the exit.
Stunning speed in, 112. Next highest was 109, 113.7. Again, 2 kilometers now quicker than anybody else in in this Kim sled, this Korean-built sled.
He's going to get 126. He does.
Wow, what?
126.1 speed at the bottom. That's like 78.4 miles an hour. And
second quickest sled at the bottom, 124. Justin Cripps, 116, not 126. 10 kilometers an hour quicker. That's 6 miles an hour quicker.
Cripps had that problem.
Yeah.
Cripps had. And, you know, you got to watch out too. Some of the snow affects our clocks and our mechanisms. And
but
up
also
and
affects
down.
the track and the overall speed too.
Looks like he lost a little bit here in the Kreisel. He had great speed going in. Not the same as Mel Bardis coming out. But on the bottom part of the track, he held his place.
He's feeling the love for Altenberg. Next up is Alexander Kasyanov, the 32-year-old from Bratsk in his 5th season in the World Cup. And Dmitry Trunenkov. Trunenkov, talk about veteran brakeman. He started in the team a decade ago, 2005.
Took last year off. He's the Olympic gold medalist in the 4-man bobsled with Team Zubkov, and took a year off. Great to see him back. He's so happy to be back. Well, look at him gallop. I mean, this is another huge man in the back. So let's watch their speed now. We're trying to look for 43.5 speed, 42.5. Look how far back they are. A kilometer down in the whole speed trap. I'll tell you something, Kasyanov had some impressive times in training, but with this deficiency at the start, I can't see him getting into the top 3.
6th here last year was his second best result. He had a brace of 4 places, but other than that, it was a bit of a kind of downbeat season.
A half-second down, speed doesn't matter what he's got. He's just going to have to try and hold on here and stay in the top 10. And it was the start time that did him in. He is holding him speed. Stop the bleeding.
1:13.9. That's quicker even than one of Korea.
This was what he was doing in training. He was flying the bottom part of the track, and he's going to get up to the 126.
126.1 is the fastest.
126.8. But look at Pierre Ruder shake his head. Best speed in the finish. I think he's going to do much better in the 4-man. Again, he was impressive in training all week, looking at times. He's got a history of not having a good start in the 2-man. 4-man, if he gets any kind of a start, I put him in the podium position tomorrow.
He's half a second behind Mel Bardis. He was 25 hundredths behind him at the start alone.
Yeah. Watch the load of the brakeman here. Oh, boy, a lot of pressure. And look at that little bit of a skid. You can see he did not go straight there. Look at that bow on the left.
Right at the end of the drive lines. Trunenkov, it looked like a decent load until you saw how hard he hit the sled.
Remember, they were a kilometer down in their start speed.
Yeah.
This start speed they're giving us is such a valuable evaluation, because one thing is to have the time, the other thing is how you enter the sled. And we saw the problem that the Russian just had getting into the sled.
Last man not called Friedrich to win a 2-man world championship was Stephen Holcomb, the 35-year-old soldier from Park City, Utah. Won 2-man and 4-man gold in Lake Placid in 2012. Brand new brakeman Sam McGuffey makes his debut with the US team. And Holcomb off injury at the beginning of last season with a new squad, new lineup. And they're working hard on getting them ready for 2018.
Brakeman, football player, University of Michigan, transferred to Rice. A lot of great success. Played a little bit with the Raiders and the Arizona Cardinals. Look at that, 43.6 start speed. He's 1800ths down, but that was a great speed, velocity into the sled.
I tell you what, I like the look of Sam McGuffey from behind. Really low heel action, driving really hard away from the blocks.
Holcomb, a lot healthier than he was last year at this time. He couldn't train last year because of the injury that he sustained at the Olympics, calf muscle. Watch what kind of speed he can
Top speed, 1:13.4, nobody quicker. So the BMW sled is flying.
Pretty good training times, but he's way off the pace.
1:14.9, again quicker than anybody else. So he's going to bring the gap down. No, he's not. 7/10ths away.
This might be snow related now. This might be a little draw race, but he's going to get a chance in the second heat. Oh, 5th.
1:26.1. Very good speeds from Holcomb in the BMW sled. He is 3/4 of a second out of the lead.
Start. start time. The lines down the track look good.
But this is
the start speed. I'm still impressed with the start speed.
Great velocity.
But still, you're 1800s back.
7800s back.
Well, 1800s at the start.
Yeah.
Little tap here. Can't even see his brakeman back there perfect. He's had some problems here. He's crashed here in 13, 14 before. And look at this airborne runner. No, but he did come in on the right side of that curve. A lot of pressure steering into 14.
Little late take on, but Sam McGuffey rode the sled nicely, started nicely. Kind of different from playing football. Oscar Melbardis, our race leader. Early stages, heat 1 of the opener. Altenberg resident Nico Walter with Christian Poser from Potsdam. The policeman and the firefighter, the big hope for Germany. These two guys and Francesco Friedrich. Local track.
Wow! Look at that, 44.2 kilometers into the sled. Christian Poser, Jamie Krugel, number 2 pilot, medaled last night in women's bobsledding. We've had 3 competitions so far here in Altenberg. 3 different countries have won. Great Britain, Canada, and Latvia.
Nico Walter on the podium here last year, his first World Cup race on home ice.
Boy, is he holding it together. Good speed there. Won the German championships, as you said.
Top speed. 2 kilometers an hour quicker than the leader.
The question is about the snow. He stays within 10, 1500s here. He positions himself to take advantage of the second run.
128.9 at the line. Holy moly, the FES sled is flying.
I think his chances bode well to challenge Melbardis in the second heat. Only 600s back in Melbardis. He wasn't 600s back in Melbardis last year.
600s behind at the start, 14 at the bottom. That is well within competitive reach.
And about 12 minutes of snow.
Yeah.
Since then. So
well within reach.
I like his chances in the second run. Kreisel, I mean, this is a kid who grew up on this track. Probably been down the track as much as anybody else in the competition. And Nico Walter, who was second last year in the 4-man World Championships, came from the sport of luge, knows the ice and the lines very well.
Big smile will be back in a couple of seconds. Yeah, running speeds.
He's been down the track a few times.
First man to race FES sleds in World Cup competition. He was their crash test dummy in the 2-man, wasn't he? Next up is Nick Cunningham. The soldier, ex-bull rider from Los Gatos, California, now calls Monterey home in the summer, Lake Placid home in the winter. 30-year-old with 29-year-old Casey Wickline, old Holiday Hams, the brakeman.
Firefighter.
Yeah, firefighter in Greenville, South Carolina. So they're 2 hot weather boys. And yeah, it's blowing
They
across.
should be going. They should have gone 10, 15 seconds ago with that snow and winds coming in. Okay, let's see what they can amass here. Should be like mid-30s minimum. At 45, 43.5 is good velocity into the sled.
Second fastest, second and third fastest behind Holcomb and Walter at that spot. Quicker velocity than even our race leader, Oscar Melbardis.
Melbardis didn't have good velocity.
Despite which they carried a lot of speed across the ice. 6/10 behind Cunningham as he exits turn 9. Skate down the straightaway. The peak G's every time they go through, 5.7, 5.8. G's peaking in the first pressure of the Kreisel.
Good line there. Trouble here.
Oh,
watch out, watch out. Whoa, watch out. Sled got away from him.
Yeah, he's in the ditch when he should have been up on the bank.
6 kilometers down in speed. Brian Scheimer can only look on and just tough night for the U.S. last night.
7th place.
Jamie Grubel Posner snuck in for a medal, tied for bronze.
Ranemaier's had a rough ride. Cunningham's had a rough ride there as well. 1.2 seconds back. That might leave him down in the teens, but then in these conditions, it might not.
Well, this is probably what you don't want to watch, because this is horrific. And he gets to the bottom part of the curve now, and watch the G-force in the middle of the curve. The back end comes up. Now the toe, or the front end hits. And he probably, we didn't see there in that crash barrier that's up there for a good reason, how high it is, because we've had a lot of problems there in this track in the past in that spot. Watch how quickly these guys go. Remember, the American sled was still on its side. Look at these guys. Boom, they're already gone. That light's turned green. They're within 8 seconds to go.
Double world champion Francesco Friedrichs, Torsten Margis behind him.
The best scoring decathlete in the field, 7,800 points. 43.7. Great velocity.
Friedrich from Pirna just down the road.
Tied the start. Best start of the day. Had the best velocity than anybody. Margis is some athlete in the back of that sled. Another one of the many. Both of these guys are decathletes.
Friedrichs came to the World Championships as the junior world champion in 2012. He got a bye into St. Moritz, came in, won the deal, and won it again last year.
Well, if he stays within 10-15 from Melbardis, he's got a chance to get him in the second run. Melbardis has got a 12-15 minute advantage of snow. Speed here's got to be awesome. Let's see what he gets up to 128. No, didn't have the
1200s back. That's really within shooting distance.
Yeah.
Top 3 covered by 1400s, top 4 by 1600s, because one of Korea could be in the medals. Melbardis is not going to have it all his own way. It was 2013 world champion and 2015 world champion Francesco Friedrichs.
I still like the both German sleds in the second run. I really do, with those start velocities they both had. And they had the disadvantage of the start. Now watch the break. Look how quickly he's in the sled.
Yep.
Wow. And they had the best velocity.
He's not fooling around, is he?
No, there's some technique there.
You've got to know, as a sprinter, when you hit your peak velocity, is he worried about a tear? Let's hope not. That's a bad time for that to happen at the beginning of the season. Bert Hefty, well, he's been through incident, accident, injury and recovery, alienation from the Swiss Federation, and welcome back. He is the prodigal son of Swiss bobsledding. Multiple medalist behind Martin Annan as a brakeman. Took himself off at his own expense to learn how to drive. Did the North America's Cup in his first season when the Swiss didn't want to know him as a driver. And he is their standout. He has got Ferrari power as well behind him. Like Sauber in Formula One, a Swiss chassis with a Ferrari engine. Bert Hefty's got a Swiss chassis in this Invictus sled. And
Sandro Ferrari makes his first World Cup race. And there's the issues with the snow and how they determine who and what when they sweep is a little bit like a lottery.
Well, they usually have a protocol where they'll nominate before the start. We'll sweep every sled, every other sled, every third
and they'll
sled.
tell the coaches. They'll tell the coaches.
Yeah.
But it's still the way the wind, you weren't seeing any wind blow across the start. There's some.
It's kind of, when the weather's like this, it's luck of the draw. You can get a break, you can not get it. It's like sailing. You can catch the wind or you can't. In sailing, catching the wind's a good thing. In bobsledding, not so much.
Ferrari on the back is a shot putter. First time we've ever seen them. They didn't even come in for their headshot. Boy, they couldn't get in. These are two big boys. Look at that, 44 kilometers, second best start speed. Not a very good start. That's not Beat Hefty's start, 5:39. Usually he wins races and he just crushed the wall there.
Well, again, first race together for this duo. And that, there is experience that has got to be built up. You've got to get that synchronicity.
Well, let me tell you something. You and I both looked at how big Ferrari was. How do the two of them make weight?
Well, yeah, his biography says he's 130 kilos.
No, 103 kilos. 103 kilos,
right, yeah.
Which is pretty heavy.
That's still a lot, yeah. That's 200, getting off for 230 pounds, 230 and change.
Well, Beat Hefty without a start time is like naked. And I'm showing it here, but this is a perennial top 4 or 5 minimum finisher. 8th best time, Wolfgang Stampfer. That says what the coach thinks of that run. And that looked rough at the start, even though the start 39, 7th best start time.
7th best start time, 8th at the bottom. There's no logic to that, is there? That's You know, that's not any big surprise. The big surprise is he started slow.
He did not go four-man either, so he's only here for two-man competition like last year. What they get in, let's see how quickly.
Hefty doesn't get in, look, his right foot catches.
Yeah.
And until he sits down, his brakeman is then, what am I doing?
Look,
what am I doing?
His brakeman had shoulder problems too.
Brakeman didn't know what to do. He hasn't got the experience.
Look at this hit too. This is, boy, that's an unlikely mistake out of him.
Last year's winner is not going to repeat.
Won the race last
I tell you that, that's not happening. Hefty is not winning from 8th, not from a second back. What about Rico Pater? Had a crash in training. Former Dutch brakeman Bro van der Zijde behind him. And Bro's a big unit as well, isn't he? Rico's not getting any smaller over the years either.
Great breakout year last year.
Yes, he did.
Rico.
He's 4th in the overall World Cup standings with victory in Sochi, the last race winner in World Cup. Now, that was a well-drilled load. There's a team that's working together.
Look at that, 44.8, the best start speed yet. And this guy surprised everybody, including the Swiss last year when he took over almost #1 spot at the at the World Championships. Hefty didn't medal, he did, right?
Yeah.
And when he won in Sochi, there was a few eyebrows raised.
Yeah, that was a big, big day for him. His first World Cup victory of the season, the last race.
But again, crashed in practice and training. Ooh, this isn't good. That little tap out of the Kreisel. Speed, gonna need perfect lines here. Look at the rudder tips.
He's leaving Hefty trailing behind.
Speed should get up to 126 at least.
Yeah. Half a second behind the leaders. 118?
Yeah, what was that? 66.
That seems unlikely, but 56.43. He kind of sank in the last few corners.
Lost a lot of speed. All that telemetry comes from that little antenna you see in front of the sleds. Everybody carries it inside the sled, but a modification on the sleds for all the team mechanics provides us some awesome data.
He finished 4/10 faster than Hefty. It's a decent run, but
yeah, well, we got a little snow coming in here, so
yeah.
The snow really confuses our abilities to be exact.
Oskars Melbardis, our race leader, first heat of the men's season opener in two-man bobsled. Snow blowing across the start, snow blowing across the track, snow blowing down at the finish here in Altenberg in Germany. And now, Oskars Kupermanis, the second of our Latvian drivers, 12th in last year's World Cup rankings. Best result of the season here in Altenberg. He finished in 8th position.
Bombs, this is his World Cup debut.
No, he's been in a couple of seasons for Irish Leibombs.
They had 2 new Latvians come in.
Yeah.
Typical looking decathletes, 6'2", 6'3".
Clean cut and ripped. I mean, that's the 2 words, isn't it?
Yeah.
Those guys are still on the subs bench. They're going with the knowledge here.
Another decathlete in the front seat, Kupermanis. 531. Speed to 42.32 kilometers down to some of the top sleds. Look at the snow in the track now.
Yeah.
I mean, they're sweeping in places, but there's a lot of parts of the track that have a lot of snow in it.
The good thing about this Altenberg track is it's got lots of turns, 17 turns in 1,300 meters. So you spend a lot of time not in the belly of the track, but up on the wall there. Of course, there's the obvious straightaway from 9 down to the Kreisel.
Exit, decent. Half second down, not bad. If he gets good speed here in the bottom, chance to stay in the top 7. 6/10 down. Speed. That's all he can get to 121, 124. It's 124.9, not bad. He gets into 8th, knocks Holcomb back to 9th. Hefty's 10th.
Yes, he's got 2 two-man world champions behind him in Holcomb and Hefty. Of course, he's trailing the other one, Francesco Friedrich. So
when Holcomb and Hefty won the world championships, they always had the top couple start times.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not
now
to.
They both have the 8th and 9th start times, which is why they're 9th and 10th.
In fact, I'm getting it wrong. It was Ivo Rug with Cedric Grand who won the two-man gold in St-Moritz. I beg your pardon, in Lake Placid 2009. Not Hefty behind him.
Right. Yeah, a lot of perplexing looking faces at the bottom.
Yeah.
You know, because they're driving in snow and things aren't. They didn't have very good start speed, although they didn't do bad down below.
Now, Alexei Stilnev's not going to have great start speed either. Injured in a crash in training, 6-8 stitches in his ankle. He sat in the last day of training, but they said he's going to jog maybe 2 or 3 steps and get in.
Pretty tough guy. He's in our hotel, and I asked him the day after training, how's it going? He just shook his head, not good. And, pretty beat up character right here, but you know he's got to step in and get points.
Well, and that's critical, especially first race in here. If you post a 0, then you're in trouble all season.
You're not going to have any kind of draw opportunity. So the points are related to the where you in the draw. The top 10 guys in points are in the first seed. You draw for those positions, and then from 11th back, it's just according to your ranking.
575 may not be the slowest start we get either. Just putting that out there now. Nikolai Nezdilov, lot on his shoulders. He's a rookie. This is his first ever World Cup start. His driver's beat up. He's going to have to heft it all himself.
Clean lines. Stolov's a better four-man guy.
Yeah.
Two-man.
125.7.
Good
quicker than Kiba Manis at the bottom of the track.
Quicker than a lot of people at the bottom of the track.
Well, he maybe had just a fraction longer to think about the driving. Of course, he was probably fighting off waves of pain from the ankle.
I'd let you see. You just see how he gets out of here.
Yeah.
I let you see what he looks like here. Look at it. He can barely get out of the sled. I think the 6 stitches were in his knee.
Sprightly's not the word, is it?
No. And let me tell you, he's a pretty solid guy. I put my hand on him and around his neck, and he's a pretty solid man.
Yeah, if you're getting a fight in a bar, you want to be stood behind the Russians, not in front.
This down below, this is where he got all the good speed down here.
Good lines.
Yeah, really good lines. Considering his start, look at the 6-pass speed, but that start. And these all 3 guys went pretty early.
Yeah, and they were all the fast starters,
Look
too.
at Russia. Look at Kasanov.
Yeah.
Watch out for Kasanov in the four-man.
Well, Stilnev as well. It won't be such a disadvantage in the four-man because he'll have 3 guys helping him instead of just 1. Next up then is Ugi Salims. 2 World Cup races last year. 11th in Eagles. 2nd in St-Moritz.
Well, was that a surprise?
Yeah. Well, he certainly gave notice of intent.
Gambas has been around a long time as brakeman.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's what you need for a young driver, isn't it? A really experienced brakeman who knows how to hoof it off in any conditions and knows how to ride the sled as well. Especially in two-man, it's like being a pillion in a motorcycle.
Technique, in, down. Not bad, 531. Not very good velocity, though, 41.5. I wonder if that has something to do with the snow. I think that's the slowest velocity we've seen. 3 kilometers down to the best, which was the Germans.
Same start speed as their teammates, Peter Maris. That didn't match him in velocity. This is Cuba Manis at the moment in 8th place, and he is currently in front of him on split times.
Yeah, not bad. Considering
he only had 2 World Cup races last year. 106.2, better speed than Cuba Manis as well.
A little tap there. Cost him. Let's see kind of if he get up to 125 or 126.
Cuba Manis at the bottom, 124.9.
No speed in the bottom.
119.4.
Boy, that's 5-6 kilometers down. Is that snow related? It's got to be snow related there.
200s behind his teammate. So there's a great battle. Him and Cuba Manis, they're 200s apart. 8th and 9th. And Ostas Melbardis leads the race. So the Latvians with all 3 sleds in the top 10. Germany with 2 sleds in the top 10 so far and 1 yet to come. Russia, Switzerland, Korea, the others. With the USA, Stephen Holcomb rounding out the 10.
The ice canal in Altenberg.
Next up, the sled that won the two-man gold in the World Championships in Lake Placid 2012. Then driven by Stephen Holcomb. Next day, he came out in an entirely different sled and won the two-man competition as the team went two-man gold. Same day. But Chris Spring, it's a rental. Like we said, don't be gentle, it's a rental. Derek Plug behind him.
There's the start speed. Look at that, 44.8. See that? 42.5, 2 kilometers down. Even though their time, what?
Oh, 5:49, not a great start.
Springer's got some.
Former cricketer from Darwin in Australia's Northern Territory. Really cricket weather now. Australia playing a day-night test at the moment in Australia.
Springer was in Australia in 2010 games. Had a Canadian passport, competed for Canada in the 2014 games. Great success. He had a little accident on this track in 2011. Sidelined him for two-thirds of the next season.
A lot of history with this track, but he still comes back. He still relishes the challenge. This is why bobsledders get into it. Tough track, tough weather.
Great speed, not bad, 14th, but you know, now we're at the space, the time where no doubt that weather is affecting the competition, and they got to keep going. They can't really, you know, it's a winter sport, luck of the draw.
Sometimes you get winter weather in winter.
You know, in skiing, you see this in skiing quite a bit. Somebody gets to go early, and all of a sudden the snow comes in. You see surprise winter. There's no surprise at the top of the leaderboard, I can tell you that right now.
No, top 3, you'd expect to be there. And Springer off a really low season last year, trying to rebuild and get himself in form for the next games in Korea. Let's take a look at the exit here. Steered a little more off the corner than really you would have liked.
Look at the snow in there, though.
Yeah, run into the snow, but...
Surprised they haven't had people in there sweeping that straight away. Look, it's what he's saying. There's so much snow on the track. Here they are on the exit of curve 9.
Problem is you've got, like, you know, 10 track workers and 1,300 meters of ice to sweep.
As soon as I just said, I'm surprised they haven't been in there sweeping that straightaway. Bingo. I mean, here's Chris Spring. Yeah. He just went down. Now they're sweeping the straightaway where it looked like he had brakes on. Yeah. But that's the, you know, they said we're going to sweep every other sled, you know, and
yeah, it's winter sport. And you can see even in the start area, the snow is blowing in under the roof. Simone Bertazzo, late change of brakeman away from the man who was scheduled to start, Simone Fontana. He's gone back to the venerable Francesco Costa, who must have done almost all the races with Bertazzo last year.
Skeleton, we have some beautiful helmet designs from the athletes. The Italians, they win it in bobsledding, hands down. The Italians always have the great clothing. Of course, we used to love going to Cortina.
Oh, yeah.
And Slovenia, if you remember way back. And of course, the Cesana track in Torino.
43.3, decent velocity off a 5:47 start.
34 years old. He's from near the Olympic town of Cortina. Joey used to compete for the Italian team in the 80s.
Skinny up at the top of the track.
Bronze medalist at the 2007 World Championships in St. Moritz. Won a couple medals on golds on his home track in Cesana after the 2007-8 seasons. But his results have not been good in the last 4 or 5 years, and that has something to do with his start time. Driving ability, nobody questions that. Start, that's not bad considering that start.
Yep, 11th place off 13th best start.
Beat Hefty.
Well, they swept a ton of snow out of the track just before he came down.
There you go.
And I bet Chris Spring would say, well, hey, you know what am I, chopped liver?
Because I have a dual passport.
Right. Simone Bertazzo with this Italian-built sled. We saw yesterday 3 brand new Latvian BTC sleds on the women's podium.
Look at his arms come in. This is methodical. Look at, boy, that was a jump there. Look, he still can't get his arm in. Look, that was not a smooth entry into the sled.
That's slightly mistimed that one. Got his elbows caught.
And he jumped in with both feet forward. Usually you jump in power step. 1, boom, down.
Oskars Melbardis leads this snowy first heat with 15 down. 16th of our 23 starters. Maxim Adjanov with Kirilan took behind him. This is our third Russian sled. Russia currently with one sled in the top 6, Altenberg, Kasyanov. Alexei Stulnev, the other in 14th place, but he is ahead of Canada's Chris Spring.
Snow is really starting to accumulate in the straightaways.
It's pretty relentless. This started as a very light dusting in the end of the men's skeleton race, but this is settling in for a day of snow. We'll have 2 or 3 inches by tomorrow morning, maybe more if this carries on.
Supposed to get wet snow tomorrow. That's not good for any winter sport. Not bad.
12.8, that's decent speed.
He's finished in the top 12, probably 11 or 12, 13.
Yeah, just ahead of Nick Cunningham.
Yeah.
Well, again,
hard to determine the good, the bad, and the ugly when the snow's in like this.
Yeah.
It's set up for a very interesting race in the second heat. We have 4 sleds, the top 4 sleds separated by 1600ths, and a couple of them sleds went early. And the teams in second and third, the 2 German sleds, went 8th and 6th, compared to the leader who went second, and the 4th place, the Korean sled, who went 3rd.
Well, they all had clear-ish ice, didn't they? They had probably the best of the conditions, and they are going to significantly continue to deteriorate, which is tough break for anybody down below 15th starting position to 23rd, trying to get into the top 20. You know if you're starting 23rd, 22nd, 21st. With snow, it's an uphill task.
Well, here they are. There's another small delay here.
Hardy fans well wrapped up. And our Ice Meister will be looking and shaking his fist at the clouds going, come on, I made a beautiful track. He did as ever. Lamindine with Joel Fearon behind him. Lamindine's first ever World Cup race in Altenberg. Somehow, the Londoner has managed to avoid, the Manchester-born guardsman has managed to avoid racing on this track, not through his own choice, but just the way the cards have fallen. However, he's only had 2 training runs in the 2-man as well. They did 4 in the 4-man. Joel Fearon is...
A lot of head movement there.
Looking now, really loping as if there was a bit of a limp going on.
Yeah, 5:39 start speed, 43.9's very good.
Good velocity.
Very good velocity. Fearon's a great track and field athlete. So.
He was just getting into his stride, but it was
really
really
like that head movement back and forth. You know, the sport's all about going forward. That side-to-side movement generates side-to-side. It's friction.
Top 10 start. That's exactly what the British have been aiming for. Get a good start and get a good drive to back it up.
Last time we saw Lamondine, they had a great finish at the World Championships in 4-man bobsled. These are some good lines here.
John Jackson, Paula Walker celebrating daughter Poppy's first birthday today. Jacko is back out on tour as well. Back to racing.
Some points in the Europa Cup.
14th place. This is a decent run, bearing in mind he's had 2 training trips in 2-man down the track, and it's snowing, and it definitely was snowing and training. 56.91, he's in the race, no question about it. And that could end up being, where's 12th place? Bert Hefty, 800s in front of him. 10th position, Stephen Holcomb. All right, that's 2,500s away.
Watch this, though.
Clash of helmets.
Yeah, and you know, not a smooth entry into the sled. Joel doesn't have that much experience. He wasn't around last year. He was in the Olympic season, but
yeah,
here a little crash off the wall. Does he come straight? No, quite a bit of drifting there. So, considering the downtime and that mistake right there, you know, little mishap at the start, that wasn't bad.
Not bad. Next up, Donghyun Kim of Korea and Junglin Jun. So, Kim is the younger of the 2 Korean drivers.
Start time is one thing. The entry into the sleds by the brakeman and the driver generates your velocity. So there, you're 2.4 kilometers down compared to Peter.
Yeah, only 15th fastest.
Yeah, and they're 12, 1400s away from Peter in the start time itself. But 2 kilometers of speed in the first 70 meters. It's a lot.
Well, the British stopped the clocks at 5:39 as well, but 43.9 kilometers compared to 42.4 of the Koreans. So massive difference in the speed they're taking off the start.
That's why that time is perfect for us to be able to evaluate.
Huge skid off Tudai as well. Really ugly slide down the straight.
Yeah, he doesn't have good control, but the time's not bad. He's all over the track. His time's pretty good.
Saw from one that there's a lot of speed in this sled.
24.311 time, that's pretty good. He's right behind Holcomb.
Yeah.
20 behind Holcomb, and he had the 10th fastest start.
So he didn't have the velocity at the start. He had skids all over the place, and yet still the sled is producing 124s at the bottom.
Hey, this was pretty good. He was all over the place. What do you say about the hits?
More hits than Elvis. Well, that wasn't the ugliest we've ever seen.
No, but he had, here's exit of 9, and then we're going to see the pickup of the long straightaway, the same shot from a longer angle. And he came off there a little late, and skidding down here for him. There's a lot of time right there as you go into Kreisel, skidding down that straightaway.
Snow continues to fall here in Altenberg, but a man who won't be worried too much about it, at least won't be faced by it, is veteran Max Arndt with Kevin Kuska behind him.
Oh,
yeah. The same Kevin Kuska that won the World Championship with Andre Langer in 2003, the same Kevin Kuska that won the Worlds with him in 2007 and here in 2008. That Kevin Kuska.
The same guy who's got 3 golds and a silver medal from the 2002 and 6. No, he's got more than that. So he's got a gold from 2002, 2 golds in 2006, another gold in 2002. So he's got 4 golds and a silver.
And as you will see,
4 golds and a silver.
As you will see at the start, he's been getting a lot of ink recently, and as you can see in the headshot, the beard is coming along nicely. You can see in the headshot what Max
He says he's going through 2018, wants to put 20 years in the sport.
Yeah, he'll be there in 2022 as well, when he's 46 or whatever.
Let's see what kind of velocity they develop. He won't get a great start here, but good velocity. Gee, that's a pretty good start for Max Arndt. Great velocity. This is probably, to my opinion, one of the best drivers.
9th best start and about the 3rd best velocity.
Yeah.
And that's experience.
This is a great driver here. This is a 4-man specialist. He uses the 2-man as a warm-up. Doesn't get too many podiums in 2-man. Look at these lines. I mean, this is
at the moment.
This is unbelievable how clean he is.
Yeah. Listen, he's driven this track lots of times in every condition. He knows where he's going. He knows what he's doing.
This is unbelievable for him to come from way back in the field with the snow.
Position.
Watch the speed here at the bottom. Let's see what he does with this FES sled. 127. We haven't seen anybody with that in a long time. Christoph, how about a Yavol there?
That is from what start draw? 19th start draw in the snow. He comes down 6th fastest.
36-year-old brakeman. I think he's still got the goods.
Yeah, I think so.
Start usually doesn't have the 9th best start.
Well, they say in motor racing, ain't no substitute for cubes, and cubic inches is that's what Kevin Kuska's got, both in bulk and in speed.
That's a pretty good run right there.
Yeah.
Watch out for him in the 4-man, Bob.
It is less snowy. It is definitely not snowing as hard at the bottom.
I just criticized Joel Farron for having a back left to right head movement, and Kuska's got the same thing.
Yeah.
Now watch the power step in the sled. Watch how smoothly he gets in and down. Look at that. You think that was cohesive?
You're half the time, unless his knees are in Arndt's back. I bet Arndt doesn't even know he's in the sled or back there on the ice somewhere.
He's a monster that gets in and settles in very small.
Benny Meyer from Austria, new brakeman, Marco Rangel, has not started a World Cup race before. Austria had a red letter day in the women's bobsled yesterday. Christina Hengster on the podium in the silver medal position in a brand new Latvian sled she had never raced before. Look at the snow there, though. Wow, what's going on with that?
I think it's been there for the last couple sleds. He might have drove through it, yeah.
Well, that's cost him half a second. Just those couple of corners, all that snow. He's gone from 24 to 67 hundredths back.
Good lines. Pretty good times in training. I was watching surprised with some of his speeds. Didn't like his last four-man run, though. I talked to him about that. Ooh, that's a bad skid there. Ooh, and a big pressure in a 14 that's caused this problem down on the straightaway in the exit of 14 to 15. He's going to be really reaching for 125.
15th starter. He's in 19th at the line. Chris Spring
on the right. Manfred Mayer, the manager, coach of the team. Georg Hoffmann on the left, the German coaching the Austrian team. Didn't get up very far.
Hit like Spring, he just ran into a big snowbank that had not been spotted and hadn't been cleared.
There's the mistake. Look at this. Boy, you know, he lost a lot of time in there. When you skid with your back end going in there 13, then he's laid here. You saw the head snap a little bit.
So by that stage, he had no speed left on board, and so all the lines are completely wrong. If you use the right line, you just don't have the momentum to carry it through the turn. And that's the quarterback scramble, where you're really trying to think on your feet.
But looks like the snow's lighting up a little bit here.
But up at the top, corner 2 to 3, there's a big dump of snow. It looks like it's just dropped in off the roof, although that's not actually what's happened.
It looks to me, too, like this snow might be getting a little wet.
Yeah.
That's what they're predicting.
A little lighter.
Yeah, they're predicting it's going to get warmer.
So 20 in the race. Chris Spring of Canada is on the bubble in 20th place. And now those outside the top 20 try and force their way in. Go fast or go home, as we say. Maciej Luty and a new first-time brakeman, Grzegorz Kosakowski.
Come on with that, man.
No, I'm going with that. Kosakowski. Apologies to anybody who actually speaks Polish. Well, let's see what they can produce. They need a 57.3 at the bottom of the track, 57.4 with
that start
cutting.
speed. Look at that start speed.
Okay, that's not the velocity they need.
They had a crash in Koenigsee a couple weeks ago. They broke one of their collarbone for one of their brakemen. He will not compete in four-man.
Yeah, they've only got 3 men.
And I was saying they couldn't find somebody to just sit in the sled, but no, they said they could not. And that's going to be a point problem. Those are good lines right there.
Yep.
This isn't bad. Of course, it stopped snowing almost.
Well, he's doing 101 kilometers an hour into the Kreisel. Max Arndt was doing 115 2 sleds ago.
Still not bad. You should get to 124, 125 speed.
He's in 18th position.
He's in the race.
The line, he's in, and Spring of Canada is out. That is not the start to the season Chris Spring wanted.
A little snow down here, but that wasn't bad. I mean, that was...
It was neat, it was clean, and he didn't run into a great fall of snow either.
Good looking sled, too.
Yeah, the Poles always put in the effort. I think it's a new sled as well, this two-man, or new to them at least. I think that's a new BTC sled.
Yeah, they're all new sleds the Polish have. In fact, that's what they're complaining about. They sort of crashed their four-man up pretty good last week in Koenigsee. It's great for the Poles.
Yep. So they're in the race. Springer is out. Benny Meyer of Austria now on the bubble. Jan Verber of the Czech Republic with Dominik Suchy. Now, talk about a crash. They wrecked their new four-man. They had to go back and get the old one from Winterberg out of the shed, trained in it. It was covered in dust. So they've got a 2003 four-man sled to use tomorrow.
He's done pretty good in this track in the past. He's had top 5 finish a couple years ago.
If Maciej Luty can break in here, so too can the guys from the Czech Republic.
Pretty good starts, velocity there, 43.2. But you just see him just tap the right side of our screen with a wall. He had a little variance in the steering. That'll cost him.
17th fastest at the start.
Not bad.
20th now, hanging in the balance. One mistake out of the race. One good line, he's in still, a little late.
This is where the Polish guy, Luty, had some good lines on the bottom part of the track. He found a line to put him in 18th place.
He's 10 kilometers up on Luty. Luthi on the exit of Kreisel, 103, 113 for Jan Verber, 119 and change. Speed climbing now, 22nd place. He's dropped away despite the speed. They don't make it in. And as so often is the case, John, when you're going the slowest, that's when hitting the wall takes the most speed out of the sled.
Yeah, his mistake up in curve 1 there, that's where the real problem was.
Exactly right. When you've got no speed, giving any of it away.
Pretty good start velocity, but he erased it all with that drift out of curve 1 and hit the wall.
So Benny Meyer breathes again. He's still in the race.
There's a little slap. Look how high he climbs there. Wow.
And that's why the exit was horrible.
And this is 9, yeah.
It came down and then started to go back up again and in all sorts of trouble. And you can crash there very easily.
8 to 9, that was a rough transition, and that put him out of the second run.
One sled left, Great Britain's Ollie Biddulph, with Jordan Smolin behind him. So let's see if young Oliver can make it into the race. A couple of World Cup starts last year in the two-man.
Little delay, sweeping. They just go. This is what they should have their jackets off. When they say go, you should be gone within 10 seconds. This will be 30, 40 more seconds before these two British athletes go. I'm sorry. This should be gone. Down the hill. They should already be gone right now.
They should be stripped and ready to go.
Well,
hang on, there's the ding-dong, so they didn't even have the start clock running at that stage.
Well, the guy, the official at race, go.
Yeah.
And
but the start clock hadn't. If you go before the start clock, you're in trouble.
They're still, the start clock's been gone for 15 seconds.
Dominic Scherer, the coach, really wanted to have them going a little earlier.
Look, why are you waiting? Just take some more time.
They're resetting. Come on. Okay, here we go. Well, it's more important to have a cohesive start maybe than another few seconds less snow on the track, because this is really important. Get in, make the cut first time round, and it sets you up for the season. 10th fastest start.
Yeah, really good velocity.
That's a great getaway. And that's why Ollie Biddulph wanted to reset and go again. But the starting handle on the driver's side didn't go in. Slap it down. 15th place at the moment on the splits. Really make the race.
Really late there.
Long drift down into the Kreisel is going to leave him offline. He's going to have to steer hard into the Kreisel.
Exit.
19th. This is really hanging in the balance. Needs a good 12-13. Steered a little hard. Sideways into 14. 23rd place.
A lot of steering in this.
All went away from the run down off the Tudai curve, turn 9. That's a real shame, because it was a big, big start for those guys.
Good velocity, too, so great push by Jordan Smolin.
Yep. Two of them took their time, did what they should have done, ready to go. Don't go when you're not ready.
Doesn't matter how you go, then you get down the track and, you know, head more hits than Elvis, as you say.
Tudai was really what undid it for him, I'm afraid. Turn 9.
Now watch this, the push bar doesn't go down.
Yeah, push bar didn't go in, which doesn't help.
Look at the arms of the brakeman, still not in there. Look at bang, and the drivers.
So now he's got his hands on the steering. 11-12, hauls it off here, and then it throws it into a big skid, and he backs it in then into 14. That's horrible. That's into 13.
A lot of friction.
Yeah. Well, Ollie Biddulph still young, still learning how to drive this track.
Give him some good credit, some good starts there.
This is the deal. Got to start before you can finish. Oskars Melbardis of Latvia is our first heat leader, but there are 1400ths of a second covering the top 4, and weather could yet play a further part in the equation. Stay with us for all the action. The second heat of the two-man bobsled opener coming up at 3 here in Altenberg. That is 2 Greenwich Mean Time, 1400. So confirmation of the standings. Both heats count, of course. Francesco Friedrichs, the double world champion, in second. Nico Walter, the other Altenberger, in third place. And one of Korea. He could be in the medals here as well. Well, with the way the snow is playing up, In fact, anybody in the top 6 might make a medal. It's very easy to trip up when it's slippery. 20th place is Benny Meyer of Austria. Chris Spring, Jan Verber and Oddy Biddulph will join the spectators trackside at 1500 Central European, 1400 Greenwich Mean Time. Join John Morgan and me, Martin Haven. Meanwhile, though, from Altenberg, it's goodbye for now.